Are those monies over and above what would be granted to specific individuals, or is it just monies that have come in and are waiting to go out to specific individuals?
Because like a lot of times they'll be going out to the individual.
This is where it gets confusing on ours. This is so silly. Because, yeah. The ones who took algebra last year, for example, took geometry this year.
Has anybody seen her sign?
I haven't, I meant to drive out there and look at it. Is it up?
Oh, yeah.
Where is it?
A billboard. We have a billboard. By Woods, the farm store.
Oh,
You know when he had his face on the far side?
What you doing?
Oh, right there at the county line?
Yeah.
Present.
You know, he had his face on it. I asked him, I said, you're through that billboard. I said, how long you got it rented for? And he said, I own it. And I said, what about letting me use it for a couple of months? He said,
What's this one? What's this?
for what? I said, I need a choice thing on it. He said, I'll let you do that. He actually had put it up, believe it or not. I bet he
And
touched
that was
the
based
price
on
on
the
it.
middle, from the middle of the year to.
He brought it up here.
End of the year. Okay. Because.
Cost
we were talking about
$219
how
for the-
fair that they're getting
The actual
compared
sign.
To,
So,
like the
wasn't too
algebra,
bad.
they're getting compared to either their 7th or 8th grade math score. Right. So she said, I'm gonna put that out there so they'll see that. Yeah, yeah. But we're working on it, Marianne. I just wanted to tell you that. We're working on it.
A little separation
I
anxiety.
know. He needs a little friend. I feel bad for him because he's out there by himself right now because we're not gonna get our house till next month.
We'll get the other one out there for you.
I'll try and make him feel better. But we go see him every day.
He's so cute.
He's so
I love
cute.
driving by and seeing him. And he's in the same
Yes,
spot
yeah,
every day.
he has worn a little patch out right there.
Oh, they will. You, like I have trails everywhere that they go, so yeah.
Skip time.
You did?
When you were
Must have been
rushing me.
stuck.
It's been somebody you didn't like, right? Wasn't mine, but
No.
Your dad said something about the other one, he's saying it's like, you're gonna bring him back today, right? And I was like, not today.
Now, Dad said the first thing he said was, now you're bringing me the other, right? Yeah, we'll try.
You're okay? It's Christmas year round here at the board meeting. That's right.
we got stuff waiting there. They've got cookies.
Ooh, fancy.
About $100.
Wow. Yeah, I won't have time.
They got some Pepsi and Diet Pepsi in there too.
Look at some beautiful pins. Yeah, it is. All right, I've got 5 o'clock. Mr. Hughes, would you care to open us in prayer? Bow with me.
Dear Lord, as always, we are so thankful for your presence here upon these school grounds and for each and everything that you've done for us throughout this year. Lord, we pray that you'll continue to be with us throughout these next few weeks as the end of the school year does come to a close. And again, we are grateful for each and everything that you've done for us, the protection that you've put over this district and the protection over our staff and our administration and especially our kids. Lord, we are thankful for the opportunity once again to gather around this table and to conduct business of this school. And as always, we pray that each and everything that we make decisions on here, that it will be beneficial to this district and that we will continue to go on the right path. We pray that each and everything that we do make decisions on, that we use our heart to make them and that they are the choice and the best choice. Again, Lord, forgive us for our sins. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is to the open discussion portion of our meeting, if anybody signed up. Thank you. Next item is to consider the previous month's meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second to approve the previous month's meeting minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next item is to consider the financial reports and bills.
Food service is in the positive.
Just right now. Yeah, right now, but we've increased our food intake among teachers to about $8,000. We're paying more this year than we did in the past. So they've eaten more, and our kids' participation has been really good. And so I'm hopefully we don't end up $45,000 in the red in the lunch fund this year, and I think we're kind of on top of that. We're going to, right now, I believe I saw the last time we had 170 families, or 170 kids. That was the last count I had before we, that were signed up for the summer program. And that will start just about as soon as we can get, as soon as school's out. I can't remember exactly the starting date, but it's going to be almost immediately. Last year I lagged behind. I didn't know we could do it, and it's my fault that we didn't do more last year. But last year we served over 20,000 meals, and this year we're hoping to serve at least 40. I'm hoping 40, maybe realistically closer to 35, but I think we can do 40. I think we're going to be able to do 40. And the only thing that's not there is in the food. And part of that reason is because we've had so much therapy this year. I can't remember all the therapy that we paid for. And of course we get reimbursed partly through Medicaid, so I'm gonna have to move some of the Medicaid into the switch it into that fund to cover that toward the end of the year after we figure it all out. But I know we've done over $100,000 in therapy services this year for kids, and but like I said, we don't get all of it back, but we get a good portion of it back. So I've got to swap some stuff around there to get that cleared up. But I don't think that's going to be that's not anything major. Everything else looks like it pretty well take care of itself. If you got any questions on any of it, or the bills, or whatever else.
questions?
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second to approve the financial reports and bills. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next item is to consider assurance under ESSA and IDEA.
All right, so this is something that the board has to approve every year. It has to have a signature of Mr. Blevins and the board president. It's just basically assurances saying that the school and the district is going to follow federal education laws and serve all students. And it's something that we have to get approved by the board when we do our district improvement plan. I suppose if we, Mr. Blevins, if we don't agree to it, we don't get federal funds.
Yeah.
Just so you know. No pressure.
We really would like for y'all to do that.
I can sign it.
I'll go ahead and make that motion.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second to approve the assurances under the ESSA and IDEA programs. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next item is to consider the school level improvement plans.
Okay. Can I have emailed everyone a copy? Do you want a paper copy as well?
I read it, but yeah, I'd like to.
Yeah, thank you.
And they are very similar, I believe.
They're very similar. High school and elementary is very similar.
Not like plagiarism or anything.
No, we
Oh,
can never. Yeah. But basically, when we complete the district level improvement plan, it kind of needs to follow what we are doing in the school and vice versa. So, and that is not due until June 30th, but we're supposed to have these approved by the board in May. But basically, our focus for the elementary is, of course, ELA. We want to keep improving, and math. And then this year we want to add 1 and 4 career options to kind of help high school out a little bit, kind of start a little earlier, and start exploring some career opportunities for students. And on the, when you're on the online document, you can also click the literacy plan that the district has. By law, we have to have a district literacy plan. And I should have printed that out, but I didn't.
I know on ELA, one of the new things that we're starting this year on mine over where it says evidence-based intervention, one of the things talks about Step Up to Writing. That's like a district-wide writing program that some teachers are going to be getting professional development on this summer. Because that writing seems to be where it's bringing our ELA scores down a bit.
So the only question I had is, we're utilizing the high-impact tutoring on this, but that's not a guarantee for next year, is it? I mean, we'd have to
We have to
reapply.
You gotta reapply for it. And when I went to the meeting last Wednesday, we had 2 state representatives that were on the education committee. And I asked the question, why does it take so long for them to, why are we waiting for like November or December to get approved where you can't find the people you need to find to do this? And they assured me that it was going to be done sooner this year. It wasn't going to be laid out as long. Hopefully in October they'll know.
Karen said July, like it's gonna open up in June.
I think so, and close applications in July.
Yeah.
But
so I
you'll
mean,
know, you still won't know by the time school starts, I don't think. Maybe you will.
Probably sometime in August.
I hope so. But anyway, no, it's not anything that you, it's something that you have to reapply for.
Do we have any indication yet as to how we feel about it? the high impact tutoring program?
One of the things we're gonna show y'all tonight when we give you test results, Karen made a really great chart, and one of the things that it shows is, out of the students who were in that tutoring, how many met their growth target, and that's on one of these sheets that we're gonna give you. Because there is a lot of data that she has to provide back to, them for,
The grant.
yeah, for the grant. So, yeah, we do have those numbers.
I guess being old, there's things I didn't realize. That I was talking, when I was talking to Ms. Jones about that, and maybe talking to you about it, was they compare your algebra scores to your 8th grade score, is that right?
8th grade math, or some kids are taking algebra in 8th grade, so they're comparing it to their 7th grade math score.
7th grade math, and they compare the geometry
Geometry.
scores to
Algebra.
algebra. I mean,
Not
to
apples
me,
to apples.
I don't know, it was kind of, it looked like to me it would be comparing grade to grade, but anyway. that's
Yeah.
beside what you made, what your kids made last year, what kind of gain you would make this year, but it's not figured like that.
Yeah.
But,
So do we have a game plan if we don't get the high impact tutoring grant next year? Just,
As far as the elementary, we can still have a high impact tutoring, but it's just going to be through our own people.
okay,
yeah,
I mean, they will still get that 20 minutes a day, or,
okay.
that time, but it's not going to be through a company. It would just have to be how we used to do it.
Okay.
And that's us, like, we have that intervention period built into our day. We have to have that by law, but, without having tutors, you really have to rely on a program like IXL or something, because, if we've got 75 kids that need math tutoring, Winnie Maple can't tutor 75 kids, and
Right.
we don't have the
It's different in high
parents.
school, yeah.
Yeah, we just don't have the people to do it.
we're hoping, most of the people that got the high impact tutoring grant the first year got it the second year. And if they spent their money, they got it, they're on track to get it again. If you didn't spend your money, they say, well, you just keep what you got. And, that was one of the things I asked Ms. Jones the other day about, because when they said, you have to have all your money spent by June 30th. Now, I got an email, I got something the other day that kind of contradicted that and talked like you could maybe use that for your something, maybe.
Through to, November or something. I mean,
Yeah,
you gotta go through
so they changed their mind from now, but we don't really want any money, very much money left at all, because we won't say, okay, we use your money. We use your money.
And we're using some of it on summer school, I know, in June,
Mhm.
to do some tutoring.
And then the math workshops and the co-op training,
Bring it.
how it's encouraged.
That, I say the same verbiage on both. I'm hoping it's mandatory and not, is that where you're
Yeah.
going? And not,
Yeah.
Or the will go.
Yeah, there's different things though, like, for example, Miss Maple this year, she's been part of an Algebra 1 cohort that has been very involved. They have like 2-hour Zoom calls every couple of weeks, and it's basically teaching her how to work with her curriculum better. And then there's a summer thing that she has to go for 2 days, and then we've also had, our math specialist from the co-op has been coming in throughout the year and working with her. So I think, yeah, the way it's worded, it's maybe.
it's worded on both, so that's why I figured it was like how it was set up, but
Yeah, I think it's probably just different math teachers going to different things.
things.
Because like Mallory, for example, couldn't be in the cohort that she's in because it was strictly for Algebra 1 kind of a thing.
If teachers decide to go to a workshop somewhere, are they compensated for that, or is that part of their expected duties under the current contract?
Well, it's part of their 190
Okay.
days contract, because there's only 178 student interaction days, so it's
Yeah.
part of those.
Okay.
The school does pay for travel, like hotel, food, whatever, if they have to stay the night. The school does to cover all that.
And you get a certain amount of money, and we always spend more of it. We spent more this year than, but you get a certain amount of money given to you for your in-service.
Yeah.
And on the assessing effectiveness, on both of them, it says regular meetings with building admin and teachers. I'm hoping the instructional facilitator is involved in that as well, right? It's the same actually on both pages. It says regular meetings with building admin and teachers, but it doesn't really list the instructional facilitator,
Or
but
someone else
one's
as well.
above.
Professional learning, maybe?
Professional learning, it says she will support teachers in implementing the new curriculum, but on the effectiveness, I feel like she needs to be added to that as well, correct? Like,
Yeah, I would
see
definitely
where they're
add her,
lacking.
because she has attended like the data meetings that we've had this year. She's been a big part of that.
I mean, she's not admin, but she should at least know the effectiveness of,
The curriculum.
yeah,
Yeah, we could definitely add that.
okay.
She does most of her data gathering
Yeah.
for all her stuff. She does most of that. She's always familiar with what, if I've got a question, I mean, I'm not saying I don't ask these two because I do, but if I've got a question, I go see Ms. Jones about this or that or this grant. I send her stuff all the time. And I also send them stuff all the time about anything. I try to keep them all three about what's going on with curriculum-wise or learning-wise.
And I think a lot of that might be, I was thinking more us observing the classroom.
Right.
And sitting in there, that, as far as monitoring and evaluating the effectiveness of the not just curriculum, but their
Right.
instructional practices, and how they're presenting ELA, not just the purchased curriculum, but their instructional strategies as well, and the interventions that, whether it's the high impact tutoring, I know she's kind of over that, but if we don't have that, the intervention with the parents and the teachers in the classroom. But yes, I mean, she's involved in that stuff as well.
Another question I had was under the goals and outcomes portion in the response. So I was comparing this plan to the current school year's plan and noticed there's a difference in the percentages this year, or this upcoming proposed improvement plan says that 75% of students will meet their individual growth target. And I believe on the current plan, it's 100%. Is that because the 100% just really isn't realistic?
It's not,
Yeah.
yes.
I was just looking
Yes,
at, when we show you this.
After looking at the data, yeah, that's,
Yep.
Yeah.
But this doesn't mean that if we do get to 75%, we're taking our foot off the gas pedal.
oh,
No,
absolutely.
for sure not. But like, when you get this, you'll see that,
I thought I
the
turned it off.
percentages of our kids that met their growth is anywhere from, in one grade it was kind of low on this one, 29% to the highest was 62%.
Okay.
So yeah, 100%, and that growth target too, that's a whole nother can of worms that we could get into, that it's not a finite number, unfortunately, and that's,
We discussed that a few
Yes.
days ago, and it's not even set by you or
No.
anybody here, correct?
no, so like if the kid, like if Susie on her English scored a 170 plus or minus 5, then her growth target is supposed to be a 175 for next year. But there are exceptions to that. So like when we show you the scores, you're gonna see how low the geometry scores are statewide. So when the state does their calculations, they do a regression to the mean. So like if only 25% of kids across the state met proficiency, then those growth targets change to reflect that. So even though maybe she was supposed to get a 175 and she got a 173, for us, we'd be like, oh, well, she didn't meet growth. Well, not necessarily, because once they applied this calculation that they do, maybe she actually did meet growth. So it's not
That does not make any sense to me.
it does not.
It's a moving,
It's a moving target.
and we got an email the other day
kind of like grading on a curve.
about not,
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, like if you were trying to calculate
what did it say, just use the scores to start planning for PD and stuff.
Right.
Don't,
Right,
I forget, because they are raw scores still.
Yeah.
On.
yeah.
That
It's,
seems crazy.
it does. Yeah, we all want
Yeah.
like a definitive number, but, and that's what, when we show you this report, what we based, whether or not a student met their growth score, what we based it on was what they told us to base it on, which is that plus or minus, you know,
Which is,
but,
it's crazy because you have those students that might have scored a 150, and I've seen them plus or minus 20.
yeah, which means they were just
You expect
clicking
it-
answers.
But you're expecting
That's
to
what
make a
you just
160 next
combine.
time? I mean,
What
Right.
we're talking about here, the improvement plan with their reports, the principal report.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what you're doing.
We'll just
I
go
mean,
right into that, yeah.
They can, that way they can show you what they're doing, and it can all go together, if that's okay.
Oh,
I'm not-
that's
Yeah.
totally fine.
But to answer your question, yeah, I think the reason that got changed to 75% was it seemed like a more realistic goal compared to what we were looking at as far as the data goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, this is, so an email that we got from the State Department says, talking about, we're on our final week of testing and so forth. It says, what districts should not do with the scores at this time is attempt to draw conclusions regarding student growth under the state's value-added growth model. So, I mean,
But that's-
Because of those and I was actually talking to Viola's principal today, he was there, and he kind of went down this rabbit hole with the state, and so he and I were talking about that, and he was really frustrated, because he said they cannot give you a calculation. He's like, I pushed and pushed and pushed, and they will not give me a calculation that says definitively that child met their growth score. And I'm like,
and so what we show you in a minute, it says determinations regarding whether students met individualized growth expectations will be calculated by the state over the coming months, with school letter grades scheduled for release in the fall. So, I mean, what we give you is as close as we know.
it's based on what they told us, this is what we know.
But they said don't really use it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of unofficial. And I think a lot of it has to do with that regression to the mean, because once they get all the state scores back, they look at what the mean, and then they make adjustments.
We're not the mean.
We are not the mean. I mean, we are not.
We-
We are pretty much above the state
We don't need to
average.
be compared to the mean.
No.
We need
Take average on it.
Not on this one. I have some reports from mine that have that on there, but,
Do we want to approve the
No,
plans
yeah,
before we?
yeah.
yeah. Any other questions?
Any questions on the improvement plan?
And we can add those things in there.
Mhm.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second to approve the school level improvement plans. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Principals reports. Ms. Bradbury?
So we are, I'm going to pass out all the testing information, and I will say Karen Jones created this lovely chart for you. And I thought I was going to give her a stroke today because we did not have kindergarten first and second ELA scores until last night or yesterday afternoon. So I asked her, so those weren't on here, so I texted her, I said, are you going to have a stroke if I put those in and with a pen? So she gave me access to it so I could put it, make it, keep it pretty. Because on mine originally, it wasn't an ink pen. I thought she's gonna, if she gets wind of this, she's not gonna be happy.
Thank you.
All right, so let me kind of explain this, how she's done this. All right, so just to, at a quick glance, the left-hand column where it says 24, 25, she put the scores for last school year. So we could see the percentage of students who received proficient. And then for each grade and the average score for that grade. Okay, so those are on the left. So we wanted to compare it to this year's scores. So for example, if you look at kindergarten, in the pink, that was last year's scores for the kindergarten class. Okay, if you look over at the 25-26 column in pink, that's what they scored this year as first graders, that same group of students. So last year, they were at 60% proficiency. this year 67, which if you look over, it says a growth of 7%. Okay. Kindergarten, and I should put on kindergarten first and second, in the column, where it says column 1, it says literacy only. Their scores are a little different. It's just a literacy score, where the other grades 3 through 10 are ELA scores, which is English language arts, which is reading, writing, and language arts, where K2 is a little different. That's what, but anyway, they still get a score. So that's that page for ELA. So this is English language arts. So all grades except for one had an increase. Some bigger than others.
And
But-
proficiency is level 3 or 4?
3 or 4.
Okay, no 2.
No, 2.
Okay.
And if you look at third grade this year, because that's the big one, if they don't score, if they score a 1, they have to be retained unless there is a good cause of exemption, and there were several things. We had 5 students, 13%, so 5 that received a level 1, but all are being promoted for a good cause exemption. There were reasons they needed to be promoted. The next page, math, that's done the same way.
I'll explain something to y'all real quick on the math, and this is what Mr. Blevins was talking about. So when you get down to algebra, and it says 17% last year, and then this year, if you follow that dark pink line down, it says 50%. Those students that were in algebra that last year are in geometry this year.
It's not even the same,
Yeah, it's not the same subject, but the state does compare those two. Same thing with 8th grade math, they were at 28% proficient, and now those students are in Algebra 1 and they're at 39% proficient. So what Karen did out to the right there, she, instead of just showing you that comparison, because it's really 2 different subjects, she put 42% in algebra met their target growth from their middle of the year to their end of the year. That's not how the state measures it, just so you know. But that was just showing you that from their middle of the year scores to the end of the year scores, 42% of them did meet growth. 28% leveled up. And then same thing on geometry. Out to the right, it says 44% met target growth, 25% leveled up from their middle of the year. And she wanted to add that in there because it's, like we said, it's kind of a weird comparison to compare 8th grade math to algebra and geometry to algebra. So that's why that one's a little different, strange. And then science is kind of the same way. So our kids in science, they take 8th grade science where they get tested. Then they go to physical science and 9th grade test. There's no Atlas test for physical science. Then they go to biology in 10th grade. So they have a gap year there of testing. But for their growth score, they look back at their 8th grade science, and that's what they compare their biology summative to. So it's kind of a weird comparison on that one too.
Looks like
So in the
50.
math proficiency, there's a big drop for the kindergarten group,
Yes.
27%.
I'm going to have to investigate. I'm not certain what that was all about.
In 5th
Yeah, there
grade
was.
is kind of just a struggle across the board.
Yes, yes, it has been.
Sometimes you get classes like that.
Yeah, but I don't know about that, the 1st grade, that's really, I'm not sure what that's about.
Those back pages is where it shows like the percentage that met their target growth in each subject. And that's where we were talking about kind of the 100% was not quite realistic. 75% would even be high, because I'm not sure, let's see. Well, if you go over to math, we had some that were over 75%. 8th grade, 7th grade, 6th grade.
by leveled up, she's talking about if they were a 2 last year, they were a 3 this year. Or a 3, they were a 4. And then the hit growth is those students who participate in that high impact tutoring.
Okay.
Those that met their growth target. And then she listed the bottom quartile met growth target, because when we get our letter grade, that's the group that really they get counted twice.
really.
One if they score proficient, one if they have met their growth.
Most of those look really good.
How big is the kindergarten group this year?
This year, there are 27.
So they've set the bar very high,
Yes, they have.
very high.
Yes, my kindergarten teacher called me last night about 5:30 or 6 or 5:30 probably when she saw them, the scores came out, so she was excited. Actually, at first she was a little disappointed because she was looking at the interim scores. Oh, and she said, I know they did better than this. I know they did. And she said, hold on. No, I clicked the wrong button. No, they are good. She was like, I know they did.
So like Ms. McLennan, this was something you asked about. So like on your algebra, for example, 22% of students overall met their target growth score, but out of the students that were in the HIT tutoring for math, 40% met their target growth. Geometry, 56% overall, 67% that were in the HIT tutoring for math met their student growth. So that's a good comparison to look at, because the percentage that met target growth, that's just overall all the kids in that were tested in that area, and then the HIT student growth is just the ones that were receiving HIT tutoring for that subject. And the numbers are higher.
The math is good. On the math.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I mean, it could be debated, was it the tutoring or was it
Right.
something else? Because there are always going to be people that think it's great and others that don't like it, so, but it apparently didn't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
It
Well, I
doesn't look
think-
like, I mean,
No, I think especially with math,
math really looks like, yeah.
just that extra exposure to it, 2 days a week, I think is a good thing. Because most students aren't going to do that on their own.
And it's emphasized.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what you said, 2 days a week, actually, it's emphasized.
Well, and really, historically, we've always had, I feel, good literacy intervention, but, but we had very little math intervention. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to, we've never had really a math interventionist, as far as I know, somebody that steps in and helps just with math. We have paras trained in literacy intervention, but really, there's not a lot out there for math intervention. Maybe that's coming, but there's really not much out there.
Yeah.
Except for these new tutoring services.
Okay. Is that it? Any other questions on the reports? Okay. Do we have a presentation that is going to be given, or do we want to wait till the end? This might go on all night. No, it's just-
Oh, I ain't got nothing else planned tonight, so.
We should have put her at the beginning of the meeting, so she didn't have to sit through this.
Yeah.
Do you want to skip ahead, or do you want,
Sure.
I can, if you guys want me to.
right, Susie?
Alright. Alright, like Miss Chapman said, I'm Susie. I've been in East for 4 years, since Miss Chapman first came in here. It's kind of crazy to see Miss Chapman level up to be a principal. After her, I'm not gonna be a principal. I knew that last year, I was like, she's going to. She's telling me no, I can tell. But, we started this her last year. It was Phineas Bidding and him, Blake.
Yeah.
Blake. They started a little bit. They were just kind of goofing around. They wanted to do it, but didn't really know how to start. And this year, Miss Rangel and I talked about something we really wanted to do to help impact the school, and I was like, the bus mapping. So we had started a little bit. Then we talked to Derek, and he was talking about, he agreed it was a good idea, and then he found ArcGIS, which is like a mapping, and we will show you what it looks like and everything. He found this mapping that already basically has all the information. You just have to go in and map out that bus on the stops and everything. A big problem that we have why we want to do this is because the newer subs or the bus drivers, they don't know the kids. If they, like Joe, for an instant, he is a teacher at the high school, but he doesn't know any of the kids at the elementary, so he's having to drop us off. The kids don't know where their stop is, so once that older kid, because every bus has that older kid that knows where everybody's stop is and helps them. If you're a bus driver or has been on the bus, you will know there's always that older kid, but once they get off, the little kids are like, oh, nobody else, where's my house? I don't know. So then you gotta go to school, the parent or the parents are like, where's my kid? The bus is late because there's a sub. So it just kind of helps direct. We did talk to some of the bus driver subs and teachers. We got a lot of good information out of them. They agreed that it was a good idea, and that would help out with the students. We talked to Ms. Bradbury.
Action.
I did not take a picture.
She was
I did not take them. Okay, don't look at me. Ms.
I'm not sure how they feel about it.
We got good.
She is scared.
Yeah.
This looks like a steel shot at the
Oh, I love it. I'm taking that out, and I will put it all over the school.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Can't
wait. We talked to them. We got good feedback. Do you guys have anything that you want to say about it, or want to wait to the end?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, because we definitely had, that was like one of the questions they asked me, is like, what if it's the second day of school and you get a phone call from a parent that says, my kid didn't make it home, what are you going to do? And I was like, ugh.
And I would say in the elementary, we have that on a, not regular, but
Yeah.
it's not uncommon for us to get that phone call when Sarah and I are still there.
And the bus drivers can't answer their phone when they're driving.
Yeah, you call the bus
so-
driver, but legally, they're not supposed to answer the phone, and they don't, and so,
Right. And some places, they don't even have signal to answer a phone,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
Well, and does it also help the parents know,
Yes.
where the bus is?
Yes.
So where?
So we will get to that
Okay,
part. There
sorry.
is an app where the parents, no, you're right. The parents can download an app and they can see where that bus is. So that way, if they're like, oh, I'm gonna be late and I have so and so, or I can't, the weather's bad, I gotta walk, I'm gonna be behind. So they can see where the bus is, so they know. So we will get there. We will talk to Miss Monica and Sarah. I don't know why I cannot think of her name. We also got good feedback from them as well. We also talked to some students about it, and there's a video in here with their.
These new technologies
This-
will not only
right,
solve problems
this one?
for bus
Yes.
drivers and substitute drivers, but will also ease the worries of students that take the bus daily. How often do you wait in the rain or the cold because you aren't exactly sure when the bus will arrive?
Not very often, but there's the occasional time when the bus will run a little late.
Very often, I think. I don't.
Oh no! I clicked the button. I didn't mean to do that.
Not only solve
Anyways.
problems for bus drivers and substitute drivers, but will also ease the worries of students that take the bus daily. How often do you wait
Might be able to
in
skip
the cold
it, right?
because you aren't exactly sure when the bus will arrive?
Not very often, but there's the occasional time when the bus will run a little late.
Very often, I think. I don't. I had to walk quite a ways from my driveway, so I did it very often. I didn't know how to get time.
How safe would you feel if you knew school office and your parents knew exactly when you had boarded or exited the bus?
Much safer because they have a real in-time location of me, and my parents would know when I would be home instead of just wondering.
Did you ever feel anxious when the substitute driver was driving your route because you were worried they might miss your stop or turn?
All the time, because I had a weird stop, and I feel like by the time I got off, I was near the end, so the kids who were like in charge usually like telling them like, hey, there's a stop here. They were all gone, so it was on me to like stand. I hate the one where like standing up in the bus and like awkwardly yelling that you gotta stop.
And the transportation director all share concerns that can be solved with this new technology.
First of all, ensure that the same level of safety and communication is established in the school grounds and is maintained once a student steps onto that bus.
As far as communicating with parents, if we have any issues, we use our Remind system, which is just a one-way text that we can send out like the message link or something like that, and also that's on Facebook, which we use a lot. There's no really official way for me to know that every student is on the bus. I just come into the hall, check the halls, like, hey, we're bus riders, and then I give them a thumbs up and they leave. Well, we had some students that were way down the hall and they got left by the buses, and then I could not get a hold of anyone on the bus because the driver was driving. So it presented a problem because we had 2 students here that should have been on the bus that weren't on the bus.
So did you guys call the parents?
We did. We attempted to call parents. I ended up actually taking the student home. If I don't hear somebody say, wait, like, I assume everyone's out of the building. So it would be nice if we had some way to track that.
The fourth final question. How would a digital manifest help ensure that younger children are getting off at the correct stops?
That's specifically a concern when we have like a substitute bus driver. And, you have really young kids. They don't always know. Yeah, they know who they are. They don't really pay attention. I think that would be really helpful, especially for some bus drivers.
How would real-time GPS data for every bus assist you in managing parent concerns or emergency situations?
That would be great. Because we have had situations where a parent contacts us that their child should have gotten off the bus. And then, of course, when bus drivers are driving, they're not supposed to answer the phone call. So when we call bus drivers, sometimes they won't answer, so that would be great if we knew where the buses were.
Do you believe that implementing systems like bus drivers successfully expanded the communication lines between your office and drivers and parents?
But there's a lot of dead ends and places you can't turn around, so if we know exactly where those are before we go out, we can plan on that before we get there.
Yeah, so that covered quite a bit, like a little bit of what I said and what they said. Here's some data I'm going to give you guys. Mr. Blivens will talk to you guys more about the cost of everything. If that's right. You guys want more? Sure. And this one. For Blivens.
You're all
I was
right.
gonna get one.
You're okay, I got one on my desk.
Yes, so we did a feedback. So we posted on the report page. I'm sure quite a bit of you guys saw it. On feedback, so the parents could go onto the doc and answer the questions and do their feedback. We had good ones, and in the elementary, we sent out papers with them, and also got feedback from them. So this is what the tablet would look like for them, and then there's like the app for the parents, and that's what it would look like for them, so they could see the bus and everything. This is kind of like everything, but that's what it would look like. So there's like, this bus is going, this is like the dinosaur bus, the buses have the stickers on them. So they would see, and then you would see like the name of each kid. So then you're like, okay, this kid gets off here, and then, call out so-and-so, this is your stop.
It's a quick tutorial of bus flip. Now, the overall object is to make the current environment for software that makes your job a lot easier. So we're going to highlight some of the main aspects of bus ride, and then kind of go from there. So either if you have your current routes which is your high school. Let's say you're picking up high school kids today. You can either select a school you have preloaded, or you can put the address in. So there you go. So right now it's beginning to create your route from the depot to your high school. Now, there are several ways you can put routes in. You can put your stop addresses in right here by adding stop and putting an address in. You can upload a CSV file if you have either street address, and you can put that in there, and it's going to populate all your stops for that route. So if you have that work done, you can make it really easy. Or you can go in and begin to plan your route. And so you know your area, and you can go ahead and start looking on the map for your stops. So as you click on the map, it's going to tell you where those stops are at. So as you're creating your route, here, way up here, you're going to go that way. So as you begin to create your route, all you have to do is click. So we can zoom in to stop one.
No, maybe that. But yeah, so that's basically like how we would do that with each kid. And then we can also zoom in. So like if we're like, okay, this kid gets off and we like in the class, because there was a time where me and Miss Ringle were working on it a little bit, and they were like, yeah, there was a red car right in front of our house. So we zoomed in because I think we couldn't really get a good location on the stop. So then we did like the Google walking, so you could see like you're on the road and you can see everything. And we were looking around and we saw it, so we pinned that so that way they knew. Mr. Blevins also did do a Zoom with that guy that helped me and Miss Ringle understand it a little bit more on how to work it and everything. But yeah, that's pretty much all. The students that helped out with it. So yeah, that's all that I got. You guys got any questions or anything?
Good job. It's a lot of work. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
You did a good job.
Yeah. I love
So
all the input.
is this like a screen in the bus, or how is this like?
It's like a,
It's an iPad.
that's like an iPad, and you got a mount for it, it sits in there. And what I like, there's 2 or 3 things I like about it a lot. One thing is, if for a, say you're a sub driver, and I was not here, but I've been a sub driver before. And I still remember there was a time when I was driving in Midland, and I got to the end of the route, and I turned around and looked, and I've got a kindergartner still on the bus. And that's your worst nightmare, in my opinion. But I asked him, I said, what's your dad's name? He said, Daddy. And what's your mama's name? He said, Mama.
Oh.
I said, where do you live? And he said, I live in a house. And anyway, it took me about an hour when I got back to get the kids straight. And I took the worst cursing from a mama that I've ever taken in my life. But I just took it because it was, but she was scared to death with her kid, and I was scared to death with her kid too. So, but anyway, what this does, and if I'm wrong, if I say something that it don't do, what it does is our parents can download an app on their phone. And if a bus is running, they can look and see where that bus is. And, if it's a cold morning and you look, 10 minutes makes a lot of difference a lot of times.
Yes.
If that parent can look or that kid can look on the phone and say, my bus is not going to be here for 10 minutes, I'm not standing out there beside the road in 16-degree weather for 10 minutes, I'll get out there. And you can see when the bus is coming where they can pick them up. And also, say you got a sub driver on there, and the sub driver can look at this thing and say, okay, this is my first stop, and I'm going to pick up 3 kids here, and the next I've got 2 kids picked up, and I go up here and I pick up that's where my next pickup is, so they don't have to guess that thing, and they don't have to be distracted all the time looking for a kid on the side of the road that I might have to pick up. I think that's probably and we have a lot of sub drivers. They're a lot of times somebody be on the bus route for their first time, and but anyway, we've got 8 routes. So you might be a sub today on this route and be a sub on somewhere completely different the next day. Also, it said you can put in, this is what the East said, I think, where the East people can help us, is when they put everybody's address in, their GPS address or whatever, then we can figure out the most efficient route to pick that kid up. It'll actually, okay, say, I can take the 8 routes and say, okay, we're gonna try to figure out what the easiest, most quickest way we can get to these kids and pick them up, and what the most economical route that would be. And we have a lot of kids that live in the Mountain Home School District. We have several that pick up that we pick up at the Y store, and then we have a lot of kids that we pick up on when we come back in on this other road down here. I can't remember what the name of it is, but we get, so what my goal is I want their addresses in there, and if they live within a reasonable distance, I want to pick those kids up. You know, they're our kids, they're coming here, they chose us, and we should be able to provide transportation for those kids. And we could probably, with our 8 routes, and I don't plan on putting on another route. I think we can. We've got some routes that I've looked, well, I've got it on the map in there. Well, we've got some routes that overlap, that actually kind of overlap with each other. I think we can do a better job of getting that, and it's going to take some time this summer for me to do that. But I think I can get the routes fixed where we can pick up our kids that chose us and that live out of our district, and also the ones that live in our district. And I feel like that if we have some kids that live on that line or close to that line there, if they know that we will pick them up and their parents know we will pick them up there, I think they would choose us rather than go to Mount Home. I feel like that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that with a lot of things that we're doing, I think that when they find out what all we're doing and picking them up and running the bus where we can pick those kids up, I think we'll increase our numbers. And like I said, my goal since I've been here is try to keep the numbers we got. Well, nobody kept the numbers we got. And tell you how the transition is for a lot of, let's say, I know, last week I found out that Southside Batesville, for example, they're getting 33 kids on freedom of choice from Midland. They're getting 30 from Newark. They're getting 93 from Batesville and 10 from Mountain Home. Not Mountain Home, but Cave City. So that's the kids, and the reason they're doing that, and guess what, is they're picking those kids up. They were a very small little district compared to mile-wise. They have low assessment. That's got through building a $24 million building. That's one of many that they've done. And kids they're attracted there. So we need this, for this school district to I think, in my opinion, this is no man's opinion, I think that for this district to thrive and be, you need 500 kids. You need about 500. That's about 70 from what we've got. If we can pick up half that number in the next year or two, I think then that's making progress. And I think with all the things we've got and all the competitiveness we got in our sports program and in our academics, I feel like you can either sit on the sideline or you can be a part of it. And I think that kids most of the time will want to be a part of it. And once they figure out that what we do is normal. But this right here is, I've got a proposal. I've got a copy of the proposal from Bus Right. They want they want you to do a 3-year commitment. It is $14,000 a year for it. And you can look in there and tell what they're doing. You can pay that out of your enhanced transportation fund.
Does that include like the tablets and that?
That includes everything, except the only thing I didn't like the idea of, when we met the other day, I met, like I said, I met with Ms. Jones, I met with Angie One, I met with Derek, I met with Stone. We all sit in there and kick this thing around for a long time. The thing with the individual tags for kids, we really don't need those, because we don't, you've got to carry it around. We're better off. I think that would create more confusion for us than it would be for anything else. The thing I like about it more than anything else, we know where those buses are. And for example, in the morning, Derek and Jason, they look at that thing that they're putting on download, and they see bus 4 is not moving. Okay, it should have been moving 10 minutes ago. One of them's going to get on that bus right then. We might be a little bit late, but our parents then will also know. When you've got what I call the early one, what you call, the thing when you sit.
Remind.
Yeah, remind. And, between that and the parents who got this and the kids who got this downloaded, they'll know that they've not missed the bus. The bus is behind. And, so I think that between both of those, we'll know, where our buses are. And also, if you got one that's broke down somewhere, it's sitting on the side of the road, you can see this bus isn't moving. Well, it doesn't take a genius to know that somebody needs to get there and find out why that bus is moving. So I think it's got a lot, I think that this would ease a lot of our parents' mind, it leaves my mind, and I think of the principals it will, and also with Derek and Jason, I think it would ease their mind too, that they would be able to know where these buses are, and also gives a, like I said, I lived on one of those little roads. I would like to, of course, back then, that's a long time ago, but I would like to have known someone as I stood out there in the cold for 10 minutes, 15 minutes waiting on the bus. I'd like to know that I didn't have to do that, except it's just down the road. I can walk down there now and I can get on that bus, and it's what gives you the ability. And most of these kids have got phones, and most of the parents have got phones. So,
And also the principals, they need to message the driver.
Yeah, I think it,
say it again for.
I was wondering if we could message a driver through that system where it would pop up on that tablet, like if we had a question about, is this kid on there?
I don't know if that, I don't know. I really don't know. That's a question that I didn't ask. I don't think any of us asked that question in there for me. He came, the bus ride guy came, he came here and met with us. And he told me to do a Zoom call. I told him, oh man, I didn't do Zoom. So he came, he's from somewhere, Texas is where they're, but he said their support for this program and the whole 10 yards. I mean, you can call him if Jason or Derek, either one had a question about this, it something wasn't performing right, then they could get it taken care of.
So would this also be a part of your sports travel as well?
Do I now?
Well, would this also?
Yes, you'd know where your buses were at all times. Yes.
So it'd be on all buses that we own?
Be on all buses.
He said that would give us some extra mounts, and then we would just take one off. Like we'd have an extra tablet.
They're going to provide us 8 of those. And if you, that's my understanding, they were going to provide 8 of those. That's one for every route.
8.
And so you can interchange them. You could take one of the tablets out and slide it into another bus, an activity bus if you wanted to.
Right, so someone going to Branson or something like that, you'd be able to see.
Pick up your kid.
Pick up your kid at school of a night after ball games or whatever the case might be.
Now, do the parents have access to all the buses, or is it just their students' bus?
I think it's just where their students. I've not seen how the app works with the interface, but I'm assuming that when they sign up, they go to the student that they're looking for specifically.
so when they go for an activity, that bus driver would have to change those kids to that activity bus, probably.
You'd have to probably preload.
So you just have to make sure the staff are on top of doing that.
Did they say how well it works when you're somewhere that doesn't have a cell phone signal? I know GPS is different than cell phone, but
They said it worked.
it would work.
It's
Okay.
like GPS. I do want to add something is what Mr. Billings was saying. So like where my road is, that if the weather's bad, the bus won't come up. So then I have to walk, and half the time I don't know that, so I would have to have, like, Brittany's number. I have her number, so that way I would know, and she'd be like, hey, the weather's bad, or how's your road, whatever, because, you know, I don't know, she doesn't know, and my road is really hilly, so obviously it's not a good place to turn around if there's ice. So I would have to walk up, but occasionally I would miss the bus having to walk the 10 minutes down my road to the Jordan Road to get it. So if I knew where the bus was, I was like, okay, I sleep right now, or I have 5 minutes, I'm good. You know, I would love that. That would have been way more, but you know, now I drive, so, but, yes.
But they would like to have a 3-year commitment when they put these on your buses. They would like to have a 3-year commitment to it. And I'm sure that if it's something that wasn't working for us, I don't think they would try to hold, I don't think they would try to, you raising up cane with them that if it didn't work for us, but I don't know why it wouldn't work for us. I just didn't see the downside of it. I just didn't see a downside.
Well, I would clearly think, I mean, with technology today, surely, I mean, you could sit down on a computer and add the kids that are going on bus 19 to Branson, and then, you know,
Yeah.
that would be able to pop up. But anyways.
Have we talked to other schools that
But Derek
have implemented this?
Derek he was sold on it because they talked to him about, he saw all the problems that we've had sometimes. And he was sold. Do what?
Can we benchmark some other schools that have already done this and talk to other?
I haven't talked to any of the other schools. I don't know of any around here that's got it except, he did tell me that they were going to, some of the big schools, I think Rogers, that's where he came from, he'd been there the day before, because he stayed here overnight. And then, he said that, he was going, I think, to Highland, he was looking at Highland School District. But
I wonder if the company would let you trial one, like one tablet.
do I now?
I wonder if the company would let you like trial one tablet, one bus for a time frame to make sure that it functioned well for us.
They may, I don't know, but when I was talking to him, he said it would take, I think it's in your thing, or it takes 60 days to implement this get them into our buses.
Well, I mean, I would think, surely to goodness, if we bought into this and it wasn't working,
Right.
that'd be void of contract or whatever the case may be.
No, if it don't work for us, you know, he didn't talk, he just said that he basically guaranteed it was gonna work for us. They would work in our school system, they work on their buses, they work on this stuff. And, like I said, to me, I was just excited about it because I thought that it would alleviate a lot of problems that we have, because like I said, some of these kids, when the roads are bad, you can't get down, you can't turn around. So you got a problem there. But the only thing about getting with them and trying it is because the time frame that it would take to put this stuff into, you know, the technology that they put in on these buses, we'd run out, we wouldn't get started when school started.
What's
And I
the
think it
timeframe?
would be important for us to be able to.
Oh, 60, 90 days, gotcha.
So why,
It would be important for us to be able to,
Get it going.
and notify our parents and let our parents know. You know, a lot of people don't know we're the safest school district in the country as far as security goes and everything else. This would just be another step to the security.
why the 3-year commitment?
Because when they put all this stuff, they put the technology and stuff here to do all this stuff and put the tablets and stuff in. They feel like that's a commitment that they need from y'all.
Well, it'd be nice if we had an out after year one, if for unforeseeable reasons that, you know, if it
Right.
doesn't work, we would have an out.
I don't think we would pay for anything that doesn't work. I just don't feel like we would pay for anything that doesn't work.
I mean, sure, we could ask where we saddled up on it. I mean, we could ask them if there's
I don't have a problem
right,
with that.
if there's glitches in this and, you know, and we're not,
If this
You know.
doesn't
It'll
work
be
for
in the
us,
contract.
then we wouldn't need to do this.
yeah.
I'm sure.
The
it'll be in
other
the
part is
contract.
making sure that we use it. If we purchase
Right.
it, that our staff
That's
has
not-
to do it. Like, there's no
Well, that's why I had all
buts
those
about
people,
it.
that's why I had the people in here that would be most affected by this. Because Angie too drives, Angie, one drives a bus. Derek and Jason both are maintenance and bus people. And he was here, I had Ms. Jones here in here because they would actually eventually put the addresses and stuff in here, plot the things for us. And of course, right now, we know we've got more kids. I don't know how many we've got going out, but we got kids coming in that we don't have, that are new here, so we won't have addresses for them right now, but we will.
Who's gonna be responsible for putting those addresses in and making sure, like, 'cause kids leave, kids come in, who's keeping
Well,
that?
we'll be able to do that. Derek's he's a bus guy, and
Honestly, the secretaries, because when kids register, the secretaries are the ones that look up what bus route those kids go
and
on.
they would have to be responsible for putting these things in, but Derek would have to be responsible for making sure that these kids, that these new kids or the kids that come in or go out, they can be deleted or added to. We deleted and added to this year in elementary school especially. Gosh, I don't know how many kids we went through in elementary this year. And some of them came, we had kids coming in all the time, and some of them one or two dropping out. Seemed like it was always, but it's going to be I still believe that it's a good thing for us. I think it's a good thing for our kids, and I think it's a good thing for our parents to be able to know that, hey, this bus is on time this morning. This bus is running early. I hate buses running early, but I'd rather for a little late than early. I just had. I don't, being early.
Mrs. Kids.
And then just, the bus.
If I'm not real late, I very seldom ever said much to a bus driver running 4 or 5 minutes late. Now, you run 10 minutes early, I don't like that. You'll miss kids. We get them to the routine. But I would ask you to approve this, please, and let's try it. And like I said, if we run into some kind of major problem with it, well, you shouldn't be committed to something that we shouldn't be held to something that doesn't work for us.
You said this would come out of our transportation
It
budget?
would come out of your enhanced transportation, yes, it will.
I would think that,
And they don't have money right now. But it
Okay,
will.
that's what I
It
was
will.
making sure I was
It
about to
will
look
come
it up.
July 1. It will come July 1.
I think it's a great idea, but I would think that them wanting to sell $42,000 worth of a service, they should have a tablet that they could bring down here, that they could enter in a few names and have a few of the staff members go on the bus and run a test route just to show everybody.
Okay.
I mean, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. I just know these people are out of Texas, or he's out of Texas, and, but, yeah, I think that probably.
I mean, if, you're probably gonna know whether you like it after a week or two. And if you don't like it and it doesn't work, nobody's gonna use it, and here we are committed to 3 years worth of it, and probably gonna have to fight, the paying for it or not paying for it, but, I mean, I would just think that there would be a route that you could have just a small little
I
sample
picked the
test.
worst route that has the worst telephone signal. Yes, I mean,
Well,
because that's my biggest worry.
did they offer up any references at all?
If you did that, though, you'd have to have it functional by the 26th.
If we find a school that's implemented this and, just benchmark it, just say, tell us about it. What's your experience been?
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, 'cause
I
we
was
just
trying
have
to
a
look
lot
on the website to see
of
if they have
areas
this
without cell phone
districts.
coverage that just
I
worries
don't
me.
know of any up in this, I don't know of any up in this area. And I wouldn't even know.
Just do it via
about
phone
this
call.
to
You
these
just
kids.
talk to the school to see what they, what's their experience been.
Is there a way to get a few different schools that we could just reach out to and?
I can reach out to whoever, I don't know anybody around here that's got them. I know he came from, he spent the night here in Norfolk somewhere. But he came from up in northwest Arkansas. I believe he said Rogers or Bentonville, one of the two, one of the giant ones.
I could also email him afterwards and just ask if he knows what schools in Arkansas had it.
Yeah, just give us a reference or two so we
Yeah.
can talk to him, ask him a few questions, and
Yeah, I can do
I
that.
think it'd just be more peace of mind, right? You know, than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm sure this isn't the only company either that has it.
And we could, if we had to come back, if time is of the essence here to get this enacted, I mean, we could call a special meeting
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
to come together and get this in motion.
I think it's a great idea.
I think so too.
Yeah, I agree.
And they did too.
Yeah. Thank you for all your work.
Yes, and thank you, thank you for presenting to us.
Yes.
We know that's not an easy task.
I was like, oh, I got this, I've done it before, and then I come in here and I'm like,
We're actually in the seats, no.
So you did a good job. Thank you.
thank you.
Seven.
7? Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to clarify something too. So on this survey, there's several comments: cameras on bus, cameras and communication equipment, need cameras. But we do have
We have
cameras on every bus,
And let
right?
me tell you, we
Yeah. So I
have
think
pulled them, and they
Yes.
are very clear, and the audio is very clear, because I've had to pull kids into my office that are trying to deny, and I turn my computer screen around and hit play.
yeah. So
And
just
I'm
want to
like,
make it known.
we
Yeah, we
definitely
have
have
cameras
buses.
on every bus.
Okay.
They're good cameras,
Yes.
like way better, and I mean, there's multiple cameras on every bus,
And
and
it
they're
doesn't,
different angles.
do they have to turn them on when they start the bus, or is it automatic?
Yeah, no, it just goes.
Yeah, it's automatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, that has come up a few times this year.
Okay, so do we need a motion to table the consideration of the bus right program?
We
or
can just table
no
it.
action at all?
Whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Just go
I think
to
you
the
can
next thing on
table
the
it.
agenda if
Just
you
table
like.
it.
Okay.
I'll be all right.
All right, so the next item on the agenda is to consider the graduation date change for school year 26-27.
Yes, so we ran into some issues this year with our state baseball, softball, and track. All three were the same week. Well, no, I guess track was the week of regionals, right? Okay. So, and was baseball and softball the regional term or state?
It was regional.
It was regional. Okay. So one thing that came up, all the coaches said, even with me, like I drove the school van and I offered to bring any kids back that needed to make it back for graduation. And I mean, I pulled in the parking lot at 5:45 the night of graduation. So I definitely would have gotten them back, but you never know. Some of them didn't want to play that day because they were just nervous about not making it back, and I totally understand that. It also caused issues with graduation practice that week because like I had originally scheduled it on Thursday. We couldn't do it then because of games. We couldn't do it Wednesday because that's when they moved the state track meet to. So the idea that people came to me with was why can't we do it on graduation on a Sunday? Because nobody plays on Sunday. No games are scheduled on Sundays at all. So I looked at the calendar. We had originally set it for May 7th. Well, the Sunday after that is Mother's Day, May 9th. So I'm looking at May 16th. I think that we would be, there's other schools around the state that have graduation on Sunday, but I think in this area, because I know that's a concern too, because people go to multiple graduations, I can't think of any other school in this area that does theirs on Sunday. I just think this would help us avoid conflicts. I mean, it was a situation where we nearly had to forfeit a baseball game that we won because we almost didn't have enough players. We had 9 players the day after graduation, and one of them was hurt to the point where I didn't think he was going to be able to play. So I don't want to put our kids in that situation again, and I think that it could potentially happen again.
The other option you would have is either have it on Monday or Tuesday of the week of the regional tournament.
But sometimes state track is sometimes on Monday or Tuesday. So any day other than Sunday, you're gonna run into a conflict.
I think it's a great idea.
People that travel, so you got a problem with that too, though. I don't know.
So just a little bit of devil's advocate here, in looking at infringing upon people's time. For the folks that are, involved in the event, Because that's what we'd be doing, right? We'd be,
Well, there's some schools that have it on a Monday night. So, I mean, when I taught at Westside, our graduation was always on a Monday night. And people work on Monday. Most people don't work on Sunday. I mean, there's no perfect solution to this.
Right.
This is the only thing I can think of that would affect the least number of our kids, which is kind of what I'm focused on. To me, if you have a graduation to attend, you make plans around your schedule to attend that graduation, no matter what day of the week it's on. But our kids that are actually involved in it, they don't get to make that choice. So, I mean, I see what you're saying, but like I said, ours was always on Monday night. Every year I taught at Westside because we had it at the Convocation Center in Jonesboro, and that's the only night we could get the Convocation Center. And it was full of people.
I'm for it because I just don't want a child to have to choose between
Right.
walking or, playing, so.
Yeah, I saw a video of, I think it was Bryant High School. They were giving their diplomas on the baseball field because those kids did not make it to their graduation, so they got their diplomas on the baseball field before the game started at the state final. Pretty sure it was Bryant.
Ed Buren did too.
Who?
Ed Buren, that was
Ed
at their
Buren.
graduation.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Yeah, it was a bad experience.
yeah.
In my household, I would say, for CJ, for Otis, for Shelby, it was not fun
No. It
for them to
it
have
was-
to make those decisions.
Yeah, it was stressful for all of us. I mean,
Yeah.
even the adults that were involved, like me in graduation, that had to be at graduation, I also had to be at the game, so I didn't have a choice,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the only way to avoid that would be to move it to Sunday.
What time of day are you thinking?
That I don't know.
Don't know.
Some coaches were like, why don't we do it at 2? That way if they go to church, that gives you time to get there. Some people were wanting it later in the day. I don't know the answer to that. I think if it was earlier, if we are worried about people having to travel back home, that would probably, 2 o'clock would be a good middle of the day kind of time. But that's my proposal. And like I said, this coming year, the 16th was the date that I had just because Mother's Day is on May 9th, and I feel like May 2nd is too early because that means the seniors always get out at least a week before graduation, so we have time to get their grades in and all that, and that would put them getting out like April 22nd, and I think that's just way too early.
It's way too early.
I think pushing it back a week is better anyway.
Yeah.
It used to always be later. I don't know when it got bumped up earlier.
Yeah.
Well, you got to be a competition.
Yeah.
I really, you got to be out, well, my seniors get out on the 7th, well, I need to get mine out on the 4th.
What's the date on that?
It
May,
really
what,
did,
16th?
it kind of became a competition.
I looked on the calendar, didn't see anything, holiday-wise or anything that would be a concern for that. We would have to decide about like the senior Sunday awards thing because we usually do that the Sunday before graduation, and that would be Mother's Day. So we'd have to decide about that, if we want to move that to a different day, but that's not on this school calendar though. We can figure that out later.
So that would have to, would that have to be on a Sunday though?
Not necessarily. That's just how we've done it the last, I guess, 3 years. 3 years ago, we started the Senior Sunday Award thing.
Because it used to be during graduation, right?
Yeah, they used to do all scholarships.
Yeah,
Like
a
few
smaller
years
version,
before that, it
but-
was like a Friday afternoon or morning or something, or it was like during the week morning.
Yeah, they used to do like the academic awards, and then at graduation, they would do all the scholarships and everything at graduation. Some people didn't want to do that anymore. There was a lot of discussion about that because that was kind of a tradition thing, and
What do you want to do?
I personally like the awards separate. I like the scholarships and the awards separate. I think it's nice. And I've never been to any other school where they did all the scholarships at graduation. Any other school I've been to, they don't do that. They just have it like in the program or something. But I haven't been here since, you know, some of you have, so I don't know, you know.
Well, you know, some people like it, because, you know, when the scholarships are announced for all the kids and all that kind of stuff. And I think the reason a lot of people got away from doing that was because most of our places we held those weren't air conditioned. And you were sitting there, it's like, I've been sitting there before sweating. I mean, there wasn't a dry thread left on me. We do have air conditioning, which is part of that. But I think it also, you know, they tell you how you act, you're going to add another hour to graduation. And most of the people, especially if you're going to have it on Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock, you don't need to have add another hour.
Right.
In my opinion, I don't think you need that. So I think you need to try to keep them as separate as you possibly can.
I think if you're a parent or a family member of one of the kids that's not getting all these scholarships and awards, you don't want to sit through that, just in my opinion.
And yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So yeah, I do like the awards separate. I like it.
You just have to come up with a day that the awards, you're gonna have to come up with a day the awards could be, it could be presented. And it wouldn't necessarily have to be on Sunday.
Yeah.
We've done that before on Sunday. We've done that on Sunday.
Yeah, it could be like a Thursday evening or a Friday evening even, yeah.
As long as it won't conflict with state.
That would be our life. That would be our life.
It's always something.
Yeah. It's true.
But that's easier to work around.
Yeah.
Words, so.
That we can move around a little easier. Once, you know, Jocelyn's comes in the fall and they order graduation invitations, and once that date is on there, it's done. Like, there's no moving it.
Yeah.
Because some people were trying to talk about moving it, I was like, we can't move it, you guys.
Oh,
Like,
no way.
it's too late for that. So.
Well, we have a proposal to amend the calendar to change graduation to May 16th. Sunday, May 16th.
I will second it.
All right. Have a motion and a second to amend the calendar for the 2026-27 school year regarding graduation and have it on May 16th. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next item is to consider preschool options.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Great job.
Thank you. Ms. Frederick and I have talked about where we're going to place the preschool. We thought we were going to do it in the other half of the preschool room. I think that we kind of talked to her about providing a space inside the elementary school, which would be actually better for us, because even though they would share a playground with the Head Start people, we would be more like our preschool. And I think they come up with maybe enough space to do that. I've talked to her about it, and we think we can do that. And it would be what I would like to do. I've got 2 aides over there. It's been aid. One of them's got a degree right now. One of them will have her master's, I believe, in the end of June. I've talked to them about the possibility of them co-teaching that preschool, and right now they're drawing aid salary. I would like to move them not to a teacher salary, because I told them I cannot afford that right now, because I don't know what kind of money. But I'd like to move them to like $30,000 with a promise that if we do get more federal money, or we do get more ESA money, and I can afford it, to move them up to at least 35 at some point in time next year. And that would cost us about, it cost us $60,000 plus the match. This year we paid $35,000 plus match. We don't have to match do the insurance on. That's why I was the only one that took insurance last year. We paid her insurance. We don't have to pay the insurance this year. So that would be a savings there. But they both know that, and I told them, I said, right now, I can't afford to pay a teacher's salary. I can take both of you and take the aide salary out, and I told Ms. Baker, I'm not gonna hire any more aides, unless I absolutely 100% have to. Told somebody, we're gonna look at the, a meeting with her and Martin and Ms. Chapman tomorrow, and with special ed, we're gonna go, we know there's certain kids we're gonna lose, that's already going out, they're moving, one family's moving to Arizona, and another's moving to Oklahoma. And we've got several kids that are, we provide services for those kids. I want to know for sure, I want to look at this and see if I have to absolutely hire another special ed teacher. If I ask, since I've loosened some of these kids, I know I've got some coming in, but I want, when I meet with Martin and them two tomorrow, I want them to be able to tell me if I absolutely have to hire another special ed teacher. So I don't know yet if I'm going to do that. But Beth White has been an aide for us for how many years?
4 maybe?
4. And Crystal Payne has been here for 1 year, and she taught preschool at Calico Rock at one time. And it's really not fair for them to teach a preschool program with degrees and not get more than an aide salary. Like I said, I talked to them about 30, if you all approve it, I talked to them about $30,000 plus if we get enough money, enough federal money and ESA money, that we move them at least to 35 at some point in time when we figure out what we've got.
So those dollars would be offset by what we're already paying them as an aid.
Dude,
right?
Right now we're paying them about, they would make what, $17,500 or something like that each as an aid, and plus a match on them. And of course we'd have to pay match on this, but not as much because of the insurance cost on these two.
So it's about a $30K total.
So it's going to be, I've got the figures right here.
Increase.
It would be 60, but if we do that plus the match, I think I figured it's 69. Right now we're paying them about 37, 38. So it would be an increase of about $30,000 overall. But both of them, like I said, both of them are, like one of Beth is fixing to have a master's degree in, she told me at the end of July, and the other one already got a degree.
Do you have to be certified to teach preschool? Is there a certification for preschool?
Yeah, but you don't really, if you've got an elementary degree. I mean, you got the way I'm getting by that is it's a teacher of record, and like I said, Crystal Payne has already taught preschool. She's already taught preschool at California. But the teacher of record would be Miss Jones, because I'm not going to mess that up again. The teacher of record would be Miss Jones. She would be the teacher of record. And I've talked to the co-op about this, and they said that we would be fine with that to do this. A lot of preschools don't even have certified people in them. They don't have certified people now. But we want to do a program. We want to do a program that's complementary to what we can get our kids in elementary. Now then, when I met with the Head Start people a week ago Monday, I believe it was, I met with them a week ago last Monday. They had the head guy, the next head guy, and the person over this area. And of course, what they were hearing was that I was trying to put them out of business, and I'm not. I told them I'm not a taker away or I'm an add to her. And I told them that if the kids that qualify for their program, I want them in that program. The kids that don't qualify, I want them in our program. And I don't want to take their kids, and I want to take the kids that don't qualify. I don't know how many there's going to be. But we really haven't put anything out there yet. Know how many kids are going to be out there. We might have 8 or 10, or we might have 15 or 18. We don't know yet how many people are going to sign up for for that because we haven't really advertised it, because we haven't been able to.
I know for me, I would have brought my son here for pre-K, but we did not qualify. And none of the people that teach in our district, none of them are gonna qualify financially to let their kids come to pre-K here.
I know that, I
program.
know the girl that her husband meets her every morning and takes the baby out there. You know, she told me, she said, you know, this would be a great thing for them because they don't qualify either. And, so, but this is what I would like, I propose to you, and I would like to do. And, I think that, I think we, like I said, we would move this program into our building, into that elementary building. It's gonna crowd her up a little bit, but she's gonna be all right. And it would be our program. It would be more our program than it would be up there. And, we'd have more direction. Because they're not gonna work the same hours as we do. They're getting out at 3:30, they're getting out on May, the earliest day of May they possibly can. We want something that runs our schedule. We want our holiday schedule, we want our hourly schedule, we want it on our schedule.
So what would happen if we decided to go this route and we didn't have enough kids for those two teachers?
Well, if you don't, then you got plenty, I guarantee you, she's got enough stuff for Beth White to do in that elementary school as far as tutoring and stuff, that we might be able to use some of, if we get the grant, we probably could offset a lot of the cost of that, because she would be able to tutor and do things that she can do in that lower elementary. So there'd be a place for her. I mean, there'd be a place for her there.
So what would be the magic number?
For kids,
Yeah.
I think that if we end up with 10 to 12 kids, we need both of them. I think we could do a lot of stuff with that, the two people in there.
So would we go ahead and do it if we only had 4 to 6?
I think you look at one. I think you look at one then, but yeah, Miss Bradford, you got two. Don't you have two preschoolers?
That are coming up,
Yeah.
they're supposed to, if their mom doesn't keep them home again.
I think that I don't think you're gonna have trouble. I don't think you're gonna have trouble putting, 10 to 12 kids in there. I don't see that being a problem.
What's the limit? Would 10 to 12 be the limit?
20, two people, 20.
And the classroom is sufficient for 20?
That's the most you can have is 20 for two people.
So on this other, the one that's already there, we're saying we'd give them all that they wanted, that qualified, that they could take, and anything that we had left over, then we would take.
We would take. Anyone that doesn't qualify for their program, because we'd be defeating our own purpose if we took their kids.
Right.
And we don't want that. We'd like for them to adopt our program, adopt their hours, and I talked to them a little bit about that, and they said it's all to do with funding, because they're based on 10 hours, and I can't figure out how you get 10 hours from 7:30 to 3:30, but anyway, I didn't ask that question the other day. I thought about that after the day.
So what is their number? Do we know?
17.
So
They got 17 kids right now that qualify for their program.
what is their max?
20.
20, so theirs is 20 as well.
And is it that their program, no one over a certain income qualifies at all, or they only have so many spots?
They can take, I think, 2 or 3 kids over the income guidelines. There's a number they take. Now then, if whatever we get, and they don't qualify, or does qualify, then we want to apply in the fall, this fall, for slots, for the ABC slots. And then we would get, and they've got so many slots they do for the region. Right now, the Schools of the North is sucking up most of those spots. And we want to apply for some of the slots that get funding. So that in the future, you might be able to get, funding, depending on how many slots open up. I know Fred's got like 80 slots over there right now at ICC that he's got, and he wants to get more and more. But we fight for slots. We put in for so many slots, and they distribute out, and then they come up with new slots, a new number. Some of them go out, some of them come in. Some of them open up. Every year you got so many that open up because you put them into kindergarten. So you apply for those. You get in line for them, basically. So we would get in line for slots up for as soon as we possibly can, which would be sometime, I believe he told me, I think the lady told me in September, we will apply for slots in September, and they'd be for the following school year, though. They'd be for the next school year. So you would be funding this for this first year. You'd be funded with our funds, and we would have control over this program. Just be one of our programs.
And we would not charge?
No,
Okay.
I don't want to charge them. That defeats the purpose of, because
Right.
a lot of these parents cannot,
Right.
they can't do that. They can't come up with $200. I saw some figures in there that I pulled when I first got here. Somebody done a program, they'd done a study on a program, they wanted to charge $300 a week or something like that. I saw something in there. Somebody's figures. I don't remember exactly who's, I'm sure it was Mr. Lane's, I don't know for sure, but somebody's figures in there showed that they were trying to figure out how to fund all these.
Would these kids be allowed to ride the bus or no?
Excuse me?
Would these kids be allowed to ride the bus
I
or
won't
no?
ride the bus. If we have to do a harness on them, there's a harness for preschoolers that you can get harnesses and let them ride the bus. So most of the time, I let them ride the bus. Probably the first school district in the state to let them ride the bus when I was in Midland. When you're strode out and you got kids, you're not in the city, then you just about got to let them ride a bus. And no, I kept that kid, you can't do that. And I kept show me the law, I can't. And they could never show me a law that I couldn't. So I let them ride the bus. But most of the time they'd have an older brother or sister, or I could get a high school kid to sit with them, and they kind of, the drivers hate it. I'll tell you that, most drivers hate preschoolers. I don't mean that literally. But
Right. Makes them nervous, I'm sure.
Yeah, they do. But if you got a harness for them, and you're not talking about 35 harnesses on the bus, you're talking about a couple of 3 harnesses maybe on the bus, then I don't see any problem with them riding that.
How soon could you know how many possible?
I think
preschoolers
I think we just got to put it out there and see. I think we got to advertise. The reason I haven't advertised it because I didn't know, I knew y'all told me that I could do a preschool, but, I didn't know exactly how we were going to fund it. I told you I'd see if I could find the money to fund it. And this is the best I can do as far as right now, today. And I think that we can start advertising on our Facebook page, and we also on our school thing. I think we can see. I can't imagine not having enough kids for preschool. As strode out as we are, and I think it also might help us with our numbers.
How soon would you want to start advertising?
Tomorrow, if we can do this.
How long would you want to continue to advertise?
I think until school starts, because we'll have people come in the last day, probably, and try to get them in. That's been my experience with them. You prepare for 10, and all of a sudden you got 4 more that show up, 2 days before school starts, and they wanted to enroll their kids in this because they didn't know.
Right.
But I don't know. It's like some people live on a different planet or something. I don't know. I don't mean that bad, but they don't know. They don't pay attention until it gets right down to it. They told me that they're doing a preschool over there. Let's take our kids over there.
So what about the program, the learning program, the curriculum? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of looking into it.
Okay.
she's looked, her and Miss Jones both, I think, have talked about the curriculum that they'd like to have. And they-
I
they
keep
got-
pushing them though.
and she even talked about a training, some kind of training for them to have. But it would be part of, we really want it to be part of our program. We don't really want it to be somebody else's program. And this would ensure that it would be, we'd form it the way Ms. Bradbury wants it formed. You know, how she wants it run. That'd be part of ours. We would take care of Sarah would take care of the enrolling, I guess, in the whole 10 yards. I mean, that's part of our program.
All right. Any other questions? So the recommendation is for 2 teachers for the preschool program to start at $30,000 each.
That's right.
Okay.
And they're currently aides, right?
Yes.
And one of them's already certified, got a certificate, and the other one will have a master's degree. I think she told me the first of June or July. I can't remember which one. So she said,
We have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
thank you.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve 2 preschool teachers at $30,000 each for the upcoming 26-27 school year. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next item is to discuss yearly review of academics and athletics.
We're running out of time, but I'd like to tell you some of the things, and I might not remember them all, so jump in. Of course, the girls basketball team ended up 3rd in the state. Our bowling was 2nd in the state. We had the baseball and the softball both finished in the top 16 in the state. Softball girls, that was the first time ever that they, as far as anybody can remember, that they'd made the state tournament. Our track won the district boys and come in 3rd in the girls, and we had the High Point girl in the district tournament. Our shooting sports team, this is the first time that we know of that they've taken a team to the state, and he does a great job. We also won state championship in archery and junior high, and two of the things. One of them was 3D, and the other one was just simply
Bullseye.
bullseye. And the elementary had won it, except one of their best shooters was disqualified for something.
Well, he broke his arm right before.
Broke his arm, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he
He got
would,
2nd place.
yeah, I think he would, in numbers wise, as far as what he could shoot close, and what we got beat by, what it would, if he had just shot average, we would have won the state there also. And of course, we've already talked about being the #1 school in the state in art. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Bentonville West was 2nd, and most schools around here were not in the top 100. So that participated. It looked like our academics has come up or is on the rise. And when the state finally adjusts their thing, I think we're going to be, we're going to be in a really good shape on that. So it's amazing to me. We have some kids that do everything. Then we have a few kids that just do a few things. But the ones that do a few things do them pretty good. Pretty well.
It's been a good year.
Yeah, we have a lot to be proud of.
It really have had a good year, and it's been a fun year. It's been a long year though. Man, come out of basketball, go into the light, and they come to the next last game, go into state tournaments and the regional tournaments and the district tournaments, Also, our girls, I forgot, our softball girls, they tied for the conference and got runner-up in the district tournament. So, I mean, you know, they're just, they're a lot of fun. This group of seniors, even though there wasn't very many of them, they left a mark. They left a mark on this place. You know, even though there was only 28 of them, which was a good thing for as I'm concerned, because last year we graduated 39. I knew from the kindergarten numbers to that, I knew I was going to be down 10 right off the bat, and I really didn't want to be down 10, but I was. Not as bad as some of the other places, though. I guarantee you. Really, I've got some resignations. I don't know if you want to get the next or not, but we got some resignations. Kanzar, that's where you're saying that? Kanazar. I can't never get her name right. She's leaving. I think she's going to Mountain Home. Flipping. And Trotter is retired. Mackenzie Jones doesn't want to do track anymore or cross country. And this book out is retiring. And Laura Trees is leaving. She's going to Mountain View. That's all I'd ask you to do is accept those resignations.
All right.
I'll make that motion to accept those.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second to consider all of the resignations and approve those. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And Ms. Gregory had one she wanted to hire, right?
Yes. Since I have this campaign, I would like to hire Julie Osterman. She is Osterman, Ostermann.
You say Julie?
Yes.
And she's, yeah, okay, I don't know her.
She's the one filling in for Miss Trotter.
Yeah,
She's
that's
on-
right. And
She's certified, she's fantastic.
Brooks' new teacher, they said she had an 8th grade son.
Oh, yes, Miss Foray,
They said he can't wait to get here.
yeah, he's coming. She asked about registering him today. So,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Was that right home?
Do you have a copy of
Her resume.
I can, yes.
Resume.
fully certified,
Yes,
fully
she is fully
ready to go?
certified. Yes, she is.
So with that candidate, if we do decide to hire, are there any other openings we have to fill?
After her, just the Miss Treat's position, counseling position.
And maybe a special ed. Maybe a special ed.
Will we change treats to full-time
Yeah, I was gonna
position?
ask that same thing.
Yep.
I'm hoping.
Please.
I would like to, that's.
It is desperately needed.
Yes.
Can we challenge you to find the path to?
A full-time?
Well, here's the thing.
It is
If
desperate.
I don't have to hire the additional special ed teacher, that opens up a lot of avenues.
Yeah.
But if I do have to hire one, then, I really, right now, I don't know what next year's gonna bring. I can't find anybody that knows exactly what's gonna bring as far as funding goes. It's never been done like this before. Now we're not gonna have to pay the insurance on these people. Okay, that's a great thing, because that last year was, I think, $175,000. But now we've lost 30 kids, which is down 200 plus, and we're gonna lose half of that next year. Our assessment, I haven't seen it yet. There's just a lot of unknown factors right now, and I won't know anything until closer we get some kind of printout sometime in June, the end of June. That's scary for me, because normally you have an idea of what's going to take place. But there's a lot of unknown factors out there right now. Said they're going to take the teacher money, the $84,000 that we get in equalization, and they're going to do away with it. But they're not going to take it from us. They're going to give it back to us, which I don't trust anybody that says that until I actually see it on a piece of paper. So the teacher equalization stuff, I would love to do that. I would love to have, I would love to have a halftime counselor, halftime mental health professional. If you could find somebody who could do that, that would probably be a good thing too. they say they're gonna put some money in for a mental health professional. I haven't seen that. I hate to tell you that I don't know, but I don't know of anybody that knows. I mean, I've talked to anybody, tried to talk to anybody that has all my brother tells me is don't worry about it. And I'm just not like that. I do worry about it. I have to worry about it. And so there's a lot of things I would like to be able to do. A full-time counselor would be one of them. But I do know that Mr. Green said he had 2 full-time counselors, and he might be willing to give one up at halftime, or if maybe we could work something out. I don't know if he can do that or not, if he's going to do that or not. But there's things that I can't tell you tonight. I wish I could. I don't know. And anytime you lose 25 or 30 kids, you got to be nervous in today's world, especially when they're changing everything up. If they actually give us a 2.48%, that's $160 a kid, which offsets a lot of stuff. But I haven't seen that print out yet either. I wish I could tell you more. I would like to do that. I would like to do what you're talking about. But I don't know yet. And when I meet with Martin tomorrow, they're going to have to show me that I have to hire another special ed teacher. Without a doubt, I'm going to have to hire one. Because if I don't, I'm not going to. Like I said, I want to meet with Martin and 2 principals, probably the special ed teachers tomorrow, and sit down with them and see what we have to do.
All right. Well, I mean, I don't, just to play, like Steve mentioned a few minutes ago, the devil's advocate. But if everything's that questionable, then we might need to prioritize and sit down and have some tough conversations about what might be at the top of that list. Mental health, I've had many community members reach out to me expressing their opinions about how important they believe that is.
So it is important.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're not saying that. That might be something that outweighs what we just took action on a while ago. And that might be the...
I don't know about that, but...
Well, I mean, the kids that we currently have are the kids that we're currently responsible to serve. That's where I'm coming from. So if it's that tight and we can't...
That's what I'm trying to tell you is, they say it's not going to be. I just haven't seen anything, I'm not going to tell you something that's not it's not going to be right. So that's something I can't tell you right now. Now we can look at, I can look at what they think is going to happen, and but
But that, in fairness, that covers all the topics we've discussed tonight, not just the mental health counselor position. That does cover the the Head Start, the preschool program. I mean, all those unknowns affect that also.
Oh yeah.
Because these kids aren't bringing in revenue; they're totally coming from the revenue that we're already bringing in.
Right.
So, if it's tight across the board, and the unknowns are unknown across the board. So, I think if I've had people reach out to me and express that more counseling, more mental health professionals is definitely something that they'd like to see us do. So whenever I seen the resignation of Miss Treat, who I knew was part-time, my first inclination was can we make that full-time? Okay.
And I'm not saying I can't.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, right now, I would rather not do that right now.
Yeah. Okay. I understand that.
Well, I mean, by all stretch of the imagination, by July 1st, surely we'll know by July 1st before we head into a new school year.
You will.
Right.
You'll know you should know what your funding is going to be for this following year. I think that there's a lot of superintendents that are not worried about it.
Right.
I just happen to be one that is.
Yeah.
I just happen to be one.
It's just like a lot of people. You hadn't touched it yet.
Right.
You've heard about it, but you haven't got to
Right.
put your hands
I
on
wanna
it.
see
So
something, I want something, I wanna see something.
we should know something.
So does
in 30
does the
days.
mental health provider have to be staff position? Could we contract
You,
with?
well, we got counselors that come in right now, and the problem with a lot of that is they come and go, they tell us when they don't ask us, they just come and get our kids out when they want them
They don't
out.
work around
And
our
those
schedule.
kids have to qualify with their
Yeah,
insurance.
and we have no idea
So we don't control it. There's no structure to it.
about what they did or why they did it, or, and we don't get any feedback of anything. I don't guess we're supposed to, but I would feel better if we had somebody on staff that said, hey, Joe he's drawing these knives. I mean, I'd like to know if there's a problem, and they're not gonna tell us anything. And they're not gonna, I mean, those people that come in now and service, they don't tell us anything. And that's, to me, that's a scary,
You mentioned that before, and that's why we've had these conversations about doing more in-house.
Yes.
All right, is that the only recommendation for a hire that we have tonight? Okay. All right. Do you have anything under other?
No, I don't have anything.
Well, we gotta approve
Do we
the
need to approve that new hire?
certified personnel handbook that she sent out.
That's right.
And the FOIA protocol, I don't know if we need to bring that back.
I feel like we need.
We said at the last meeting to take it to legal.
I took it to legal, and he didn't like the way it read. I told him to get me an interpretation of it, and he hasn't done that yet.
Okay.
I told him I want something we can live with.
Okay.
That's legal.
Okay.
And he didn't like something there's a little something he didn't particularly care for. So I told him to get us something
Maybe
that
at
we
the
could
next
take care
meeting.
of, that
Okay.
we could do it on the FIOI thing.
So do we have a chance to look at the handbook?
She emailed it to us.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's the personnel handbook or the student handbook?
Personnel,
Personnel.
certified.
All right. Do we have a motion?
Now, is this on Julie? Or the handbook?
Yeah, we gotta approve the new
I thought we
hire.
already.
No, we just did the
Okay, I'm
resignation.
sorry.
It's in here sweating.
Is there anybody?
Not on purpose.
Do what?
I don't think so.
You'll be, go up there. open
Well,
up.
you'll see, it might not
Okay,
be
as long
anybody else,
as- as long as
but
we're
you'll
gonna
see
approve
it.
that.
Please.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so we have recommendation to hire Julie Osterman as the elementary teacher.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion and second to hire Julie Osterman as the elementary teacher. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So the next item would be the personnel handbook.
So I didn't get a chance to look at it in detail, but if you had to speak to just off the top of your head, what were the key updates?
She mentioned it two
she
meetings
went
ago.
over 'em,
It might
yeah.
actually be in the, I don't know if I did it.
I know one of them, the social media policy was updated to just reflect what the state has in their ethics policy, because the social media policy that was in there was pretty dated, it had like MySpace and stuff.
So it was just updated to the state language?
Yeah,
Which
That part.
standard?
Fair Dismissal Act
Yes, it
came
just
out.
And I don't know if they replaced it with anything, I haven't looked at that part.
It's all per the state
Yeah,
Learns Act.
yeah. Trying to remember.
What meeting was that, February?
She emailed it
It's
to
been a long
us.
time since I've looked at it. She didn't.
Because I asked her to email it to us so we could, yeah.
Well, if there's really nothing earth-shattering and it's mainly updating the language based on state requirements, then
Yeah, the Learns Act.
So I'll make
I
that
read it the
motion.
following day and I didn't think
Yeah.
anything.
It's a lot of pages.
Right.
I just like to have it read before.
Right.
Like anything I can read before
Right.
All right, we have a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Darren had the motion. You got a
I'll take
second?
the second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the 26-27 personnel handbook. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Any other business?
Nope, I got food in there, but I don't know if you guys gonna have time to eat or not.
You gonna run it?
We talked too much, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh, we need to adjourn, don't we?
I'll make that motion.
I made it.
He seconded it.
Second, all in favor?
I forgot to give you